Thanks for tuning in. While most muscle cars built during the 60s and early 70s were two-door coupes, a handful came with a top-down option that also performed excellent and didn't lose their muscle. In this episode, we'll review the best American muscle car convertibles. Stay tuned and be sure to hit that like button and subscribe to our channel as we get into the countdown. Number 14. 1965 Ford Mustang Convertible. The first generation of the Mustang was unveiled in March 1964 and was still relatively timid compared to the generations that would follow. The convertible version was born from Ford's vision to create a lightweight and fast muscle car using the Falcon's platform to keep production costs low. The Mustang's sleek shape and low stance helped reduce drag, enhancing speed. The convertible's open top gave it a unique appeal, though it slightly impacted its aerodynamics compared to the coupe. The car featured an independent front suspension with coil springs and a solid axle in the rear. Under the hood was the 289 cubic inch Hypo V8, producing 271 horsepower and 312 pound-feet of torque. It was mated to a 4-speed manual transmission that enabled it to accelerate to 60 miles per hour in 7.6 seconds and run the quarter mile in 15.9 seconds at 89 miles per hour. Number 13. 1966 Plymouth Belvedere II 426 Hemi Convertible. Around 1966, NASCAR set rules to ensure that every engine used on the track should also be used in street cars. If automakers failed to observe this rule, it wouldn't be allowed to participate in the races. These rules propelled Chrysler to produce the 426 Hemi that would race on the streets. Chrysler rated the Hemi at 425 horsepower and 490 pound-feet of torque. These engines were believed to produce up to 500 horsepower, but the company had to downplay this to comply with NASCAR's rules. The 1966 Plymouth Belvedere was a straightforward muscle car with few creature comforts but housed the street Hemi. Plymouth built 10 convertibles, 6 with automatic transmissions and 4 with 4-speed manuals. Plymouth also equipped the Belvedere II with a heavy-duty suspension, featuring torsion bars in the front and leaf springs in the rear. This setup helped manage the weight of the Hemi engine while providing a decent ride and stability under hard acceleration. Number 12. 1966 Ford Shelby GT350 Convertible. The 1966 Ford Shelby Mustang GT350 entered production in August 1965 with many similarities to first-year design cues. Only 6 GT350 convertibles were built this year, and they were an improvement to the previous year's model, which was termed the Secretary car. The 66 convertible received plexiglass rear quarter windows, smaller wheels, and a fold-down rear seat. Shelby also upgraded the Mustang's suspension, tuning it for racing-grade handling. It featured an independent front suspension with heavy-duty shocks and a reinforced rear axle with leaf springs. Under the hood, the GT350 convertible housed a high-performance 289 cubic inch Windsor K-Code V8. This engine featured a 4-barrel carburetor and a high-rise intake manifold, helping produce 306 horsepower and 329 pound-feet of torque. It was mated to a 4-speed manual transmission, enabling the car to accelerate from 0 to 60 miles per hour in 6.5 seconds. Number 11. 1967 Dodge Coronet RT Hemi Convertible. 1967 was the final year for the 5th-generation Coronet, and Dodge introduced the RT trim. This trim turned the two-door versions of the Intermediate into thoroughbred muscle cars, available either as a hardtop or convertible. The Coronet RT was a luxury performance model marketed to drivers who wanted the best of both power and style. This car's squared-off, wide-body design and low stance contributed to a stable feel at higher speeds. It also featured torsion bars in the front and leaf springs in the rear, beefed-out shocks, and a thicker sway bar. This setup offered a smoother ride than many competitors while maintaining stability and traction. The Coronet came standard with chassis enhancements and a 440 cubic inch Magnum Big Block V8. However, those who wanted more power could get the optional Hemi 426, producing 425 horsepower and 490 pound-feet of torque. It was mated to a 4-speed manual transmission that enabled it to accelerate from 0 to 60 miles per hour in 6.1 seconds and run the quarter-mile run in 14.5 seconds. Number 10. 1967 Chevy Corvette Stingray L88 Convertible. The L88 Stingray is widely regarded as one of the most beautiful iterations of the nameplate, but that's not the only feat it can brag about. Only 20 L88 models were produced in 1967, making them extremely rare and coveted among collectors. The convertible remains the rarest, but the car had the best aerodynamic features. It featured sleek, aerodynamic lines with a low, wide stance, which improved high-speed stability and reduced drag. Chevy outfitted the L88 Stingray with a race-tuned suspension, It had an independent front and rear suspension with heavy-duty springs, shocks, and anti-roll bars designed to handle the intense power output. The Chevrolet Corvette L88 was a barely street-legal beast fitted with a race-spec engine. Under the hood was the 427 cubic inch V8 that featured lightweight heads, bigger ports, a hot camshaft, a 12.5:1 compression ratio, and a 4-barrel carburetor. It was officially rated at 430 horsepower and 460 pound-feet of torque, but in reality could produce 560 horsepower. The L88 was mated to a 4-speed manual transmission that helped accelerate from 0 to 60 miles per hour in 4.7 seconds. Number 9. 1968 Ford Mustang Shelby GT500 convertible. The 1968 GT500 was a different-looking Mustang with a reshaped nose and tail, a functional hood scoop, and exaggerated side scoops. Buyers could get air conditioning, AM radio, power brakes, power steering, a thin tilting steering wheel, and a power top. The GT500's suspension was upgraded for enhanced handling. It included an independent front suspension with heavy-duty springs and shocks, and a reinforced rear axle with leaf springs. Shelby's tuning gave it a more responsive feel, providing better cornering stability and control. Under the hood was a 428 cubic inch Cobra Jet V8. It featured a single 4-barrel carburetor on an aluminum intake manifold. This engine was officially rated at 360 horsepower and 445 pound-feet of torque. The engine was mated to a 4-speed manual transmission, which enabled the car to accelerate from 0 to 60 miles per hour in 6.5 seconds and run the quarter mile in 14.7 seconds at 98 miles per hour. Number 8. 1968 Chevy Camaro Z28 convertible. The Z28 was introduced in December 1966 for the 1967 model year. It was the brainchild of Vince Piggins and a street-legal version of the Camaro that competed in the Trans Am series. The Z28 maintained the Camaro's sleek, compact design with a low stance, but featured racing-inspired styling cues, such as the functional cowl induction hood. For homologation purposes, it was equipped with a 302 cubic inch V8 rated at 290 horsepower and 290 pound-feet of torque, but in reality it made much more. Only 7,199 Z28s were built in 1968, and officially all were hard tops. However, through the couple program, a single convertible was built for Chevy General Manager Pete Estes. This convertible featured a 4-speed manual transmission and other upgrades, including a posi traction rear end and a specially tuned suspension system. Are you ready for our top 7 American muscle car convertibles? Be sure to like and subscribe to our channel, which helps us create more episodes. Number 7. 1969 Hurst Olds convertible. The original Hurst Olds was available during the 1968 and 1969 model years and was only sold as a 2-door fastback coupe. However, in 1969, Hurst converted 3442 convertibles to Hurst Olds specifications for promotional purposes. Under the hood was a 455 cubic inch Rocket V8, which produced 390 horsepower and 500 pound-feet of torque. It was the same engine that powered the 1968 Hurst Olds, but it received several upgrades, such as a unique intake manifold and chrome steel valve covers. These convertibles appeared at high-profile events nationwide, promoting the 1969 Hurst Olds and the renowned shifter manufacturer's products. Number 6. 1969 Pontiac GTO Judge 400 Ram Air 3 convertible. By 1969, cars like the Hemi Roadrunner SS396, Chevelle 390 SC Rambler, 428 CJ Mustang, and even Pontiac's Firebird were stealing the GTO's sales. Pontiac responded with a high-profile car, the Judge, to stop the decline. The name Judge was inspired by the hit TV show Laugh-In. The '69 Judge was an instant advertising and marketing success, as Pontiac would sell 6,725 Judge hardtops and 108 convertibles. The GTO Judge featured a rear spoiler and a heavy-duty suspension to match its performance focus. It included an independent front suspension with coil springs and a solid rear axle with heavy-duty shocks and sway bars for better cornering. 1969 brought new engine designations, one featuring a new Ram Air induction system through triple Rochester carburetors, called the Ram Air. The Ram Air 3 400 cubic inch V8 engine was rated at 366 horsepower and 445 pound-feet of torque. The GTO Judge offered a 4-speed manual transmission or a 3-speed automatic, both built to handle the engine's powerful output. Number 5. 1969 Pontiac Trans Am convertible. Pontiac built the Trans Am for 1 year in the earlier body style. Only 8 were built as convertibles. This car was available with a 400 cubic inch Ram Air V8 rated at 345 horsepower and 430 pound-feet of torque. It featured a hydraulic roller camshaft, an aluminum Ram air intake manifold, and a quadrajet carburetor. This engine was mated to a 4-speed manual transmission, giving it a competitive edge in the SCCA Trans Am racing series. Number 4. 1970 Mercury Cougar XR7 convertible. The Cougar XR7 was a premium alternative to the Ford Mustang, and the 1970 Mercury Cougar XR7 convertible blended luxury and performance. Less than 2,000 1970 Mercury Cougar XR7 convertibles were produced, and they featured power steering, power brakes, power top, bucket seats, chrome Cougar rally wheels, vintage AM/FM cassette Pioneer stereo deck, and driver's side mirror. The Cougar XR7 had a robust suspension system for a smooth ride and confident handling. It featured an independent front suspension with coil springs and a rear multi-leaf spring setup. Heavy-duty shocks and a thicker sway bar improved cornering stability and reduced body roll. Under the hood was the 428 cubic inch Super Cobra Jet V8, which produced 335 horsepower and 440 pound-feet of torque. It was mated to a 4-speed manual transmission that excellently transferred power to the wheels. Number 3. 1970 Buick GSX Stage 1 convertible. In 1970, the Buick GSX became a hotter variant of the Grand Sport 455. The automaker built only 678 examples, of which 278 were equipped with the standard 455 and 400 with the optional Stage 1 performance package. The Buick GSX Stage 1 featured an aggressive design with a wide stance, muscular lines, and a distinctive hood with functional air scoops. It had a performance-tuned suspension system with heavy-duty front and rear springs and shocks designed to handle the demands of high-speed driving. Under the hood was the 455 cubic inch V8, rated at 360 horsepower and 510 pound-feet of torque. The Stage 1 package included enhancements such as a high-performance camshaft, a larger carburetor, and upgraded intake and exhaust systems, allowing the engine to produce even more power. The engine was mated to a 4-speed manual transmission that helped accelerate from 0 to 60 miles per hour in 6.4 seconds. Number 2. 1970 Roadrunner Hemi convertible. Only a limited number of 1970 Plymouth Roadrunner Hemi convertibles were produced. These cars featured a bold and aggressive design characterized by a cartoonish Roadrunner mascot on the grille and distinctive hood scoops. The Roadrunner was equipped with a performance-tuned suspension system that included an independent front suspension with torsion bars and a heavy-duty rear suspension with leaf springs. Under the hood was the legendary 426 cubic inch Hemi, producing 425 horsepower and 490 pound-feet of torque, thanks to its dual 4-barrel carburetor. It was mated to a 4-speed manual transmission that helped accelerate from 0 to 60 miles per hour in 5.3 seconds and run the quarter mile in mid-13s. Number 1. 1971 Plymouth Hemi Cuda convertible. The Plymouth Barracuda was introduced a few weeks earlier than the Ford Mustang. In 1970, it became one of the most lethal factory-built muscle cars, with the Hemi engine producing 425 horsepower and 490 pound-feet of torque under the hood. Most Hemi Cudas were sold as hardtops, but a few enthusiasts bought convertibles. In fact, 1971 had the lowest production number with only 7 convertible examples, all with 4-speed manual transmissions. Because of its name, this car boasted fender gills meant to look like fish gills. Moreover, it incorporated a pair of round headlights, a long wide hood, a shorter deck, and beautifully contoured quarters that ascended to meet the B-pillars, gaining the muscular look. Thanks for watching today's episode. Which of these convertible muscle cars is your favorite? Let us know in the comment section below. Also, if you haven't already, please subscribe to our channel and don't forget to click the like button to show your support and stay updated on our latest episodes.